Probably a lot of road noise out here. I apologize for that. But welcome back to Your Lake Fork Guide. We're here today, East Texas bass stories. We're going to get to some bass fishing. But first, I want to take you guys inside this restaurant right here. I told you guys about my wife last week. I live in Van, Texas. It's the very best community to raise a family in. I'm about to prove it to you. Bush's Chicken right here in Van, Texas is giving away a percentage of their proceeds tonight from 5 to 10 o'clock. Whatever they sell, we're getting a pretty big percentage of their sales. So first, thank you, Bush's Chicken. All you guys out there, if y'all are coming through Van, Texas for whatever reason, Bush's Chicken is right here on I-20, right at the main exit in Van. Exit number 540 on I-20 coming through Van, Texas. Stop in. It's good food, chicken spot. Man, you can't go wrong with fried chicken, right? Everybody loves fried chicken. So just good old home cooked food and obviously some good old home cooked people, because they don't know us from Adam and they're giving us a big chunk of money to help us out with everything that's going on. So thank you to Bush's Chicken. We'll take y'all inside, let y'all see what's going on. Later in the show, I'm going to show you my setup for this weekend. So this is going to come out on Friday, and you guys are going to see my top 5 baits that I'm going to be throwing this weekend on Lake Fork. So if you're going fishing in East Texas and you see this video, this will give you a good starting point on what you need to be throwing. And I'm going to tell you guys a fish story about the biggest fish that I lost in 2016. My wife. This is one I've been telling y'all about. So. Pretty cool deal it's been a place.
Yeah, pretty incredible.
Tell the people to stop eating Bush's Chicken.
No.
Tell all the people to eat Bush's Chicken.
Eat Bush's Chicken. They're awesome. They support their community.
Look, there's one of my knuckleheads right there. Say hi.
Hi. Hi.
That's my mom right there. You want to say hi? That's my son's friend Donovan. These are all his friends. These are all our people. People, hi everybody.
Hi.
What up, Bear?
That's the bears.
Bear's a little shy. He ain't got the knack for the camera yet, but he'll get used to it. What you doing, Ty? You're on camera. These gave you bunny ears. You got bunny ears on camera. Ah, who's that? Yeah, that's your friend Denise. You want to see what I'm rocking? This is what I'm rocking today. Yep, everything's fried. That's just how we do it in East Texas. Fried food. Probably why none of us are skinny though.
Bye, Bush's Chicken.
Thank you, Bush's Chicken.
Thank you, Bush's Chicken.
Night, night.
Y'all hear that? Sound of greatness right there. That's that Movement ADX crankbait I'm always talking about. Alright, first of all, Bush's Chicken, man, you guys have been a blessing to our family from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. This whole town of Van, Texas, my wife works for the school system. She's a teacher up there. The school is selling t-shirts. I mean, it's, God is wonderful, and the heart that He's put in this community that we live in is something special to see that can't really be put into words. So thank y'all so much. All right, fishing. It's the East Texas Bass Stories episode. So let's get here what you came for. We're going to talk about fishing. We're going to try to help you out. Today's Friday. You guys are seeing this video on Friday. So I'm going to give you my top 5 baits that I would have rigged up to go out and fish Lake Fork this weekend. The fishing is really good. As you guys have seen lately, it's gotten so good. And we had a couple colder nights this week. We've got warm weather coming for the weekend, so we should be right back in the same swing of things, the same patterns. They maybe backed out a little bit on their way back in, but if you go back in those shallow areas, they'll be coming to you. So should be a good weekend for fishing out there. So let's jump right into it. First and foremost, the killer, the one that's been doing all the big fish damage for us lately, white chatterbait with a Lake Fork Tackle live magic chat on the back. The 4-inch, the regular middle-sized magic chat has been the one that we've been getting bid on the best. There are days when they prefer the 3-inch, so typically, especially when I'm running a guide trip, I'll start out with one of each on and just let the fish talk to me, and whichever one they bite more, I'll switch them both to that. So as for the setup, this rod happens to be fluorocarbon right here, 20-pound fluorocarbon, but typically I throw this bait on braid. You can throw it on 20-pound fluorocarbon, it's fine, it doesn't really hurt anything. Usually though, I'm not worried about noise factor, I'm not worried about seeing the line. That bait is making so much noise and shaking so much that I don't worry too much about it. I just want a good, strong, tough line. This one happens to be on 20 fluoro. The main thing is the rod. 7 foot heavy. If you guys watch the How to Chatterbait video, 7 foot heavy action rod is very important. I have several different brands of 7 foot heavy actions. This one is an all-star classic, and this is one of the oldest rods I got. Very durable, very tough, very strong rod. So that's the main deal right there. That one's really been, if you guys are watching the channel, y'all see we've been catching some monster fish on that setup right there. All right, next. The next most productive, second most productive thing. Got a little bit of a mess here, which is basically typical for me. I always have a tangled mess. The second most productive bait lately has been a 5-inch stick bait. This is the Smash Tech Smash Stick in watermelon red. Watermelon red is my favorite all-around plastics color. Year in, year out, lake in, lake out, no matter where I go, watermelon red gets bit. I'm fishing for my stick baits. This is a 7.3 medium heavy rod. You can get away with a 7 foot medium heavy, that's fine too. This is a 7.3 medium heavy TFO rod. Great rod for the job, very sensitive, very light rod. You want a very sensitive and very light rod. That's going to help you have more sensitivity and feel those soft bites on this subtle technique. Some of you guys out there may be wondering, hey, Billy, why aren't you using a fluke? Why aren't you using that wacky worm that you talk so highly about? Well, you know, to be honest with you, these fish are in really shallow water on these warming trends, and there's a lot of junk up there. There's some old pondweed that's died off, and hyacinth that's died off, and there's some coontail grass. And, you know, that 5-inch stick bait, weightless Texas rig, is just the most weedless and versatile one out of all of them. It'll slide through all that stuff better than anything else. And day in, day out, man, that's just a bite getter. And for some reason, that one seems to catch bigger fish than the flukes or the wacky rigs do on average. Now, the biggest fish I've ever seen caught is called on a wacky rig trickworm. That one, though, day in, day out, seems to get a better average size bite. And this time of year, right now, what are we looking for? We're looking for big pre-spawn females. That's why I go with the stick bait this time of year over the other weightless techniques. As far as the setup on that, it's only 7.3 medium heavy. For the hook, I'm using a 4-aught EWG Gamakatsu Superline hook. On fork, I use a heavier hook than I would for that technique on other lakes. If I was on a lake, maybe didn't have as big a fish, maybe a more open water lake didn't have all the heavy cover that we have, I would go to a 3-aught, just a regular wire hook. Still an EWG. On line, I like 15-pound fluoro or 12-pound mono, which is actually what this is on, 12-pound big game mono. The reason for that, a little bit extra flotation can help you. You want that bait, as you pull it, it's going to glide up out of that grass and kind of flutter and fall, and that mono can actually give it a little bit more of that upward glide and float it a little bit longer, give it just a fraction more in the strike zone. The Movement 80X, I just pulled it out. I don't have it tied on a rod. I actually have 2 jigs out here. I'm only going to have one out of my top 5 be a jig. But 6 cents Movement 80X. This is a 7.3 medium heavy rod that I'm going to put it on. Again, 20-pound fluorocarbon. On my crankbaits, I always use fluorocarbon. 15, somewhere between 15 and 20 on fork is what I use. Usually when I'm fishing the deeper cranks and I really want to max that depth out, I'll go to 15-pound fluorocarbon. Right now, shallow water crank, I actually want this bait to run a little bit shallower, so I'm going to run 20-pound fluorocarbon on the crankbait right now. This is a 6-inch movement ADX. Great reflecting qualities. It's awesome for that shallow water, just beating it off that timber, getting a lot of reaction bites off those deflections. So that's going to be my third bait of choice. Fourth bait of choice, old flipping jig. It's hard to beat a flipping jig in the pre-spawn. This is the new 6-inch hybrid jig. Told you guys a little bit about it. It's a very versatile head. It's kind of got a triangular shape. It'll rock a little bit like a football head, but it also has a great shape to come in and out of cover. I've hung up and lost very, very few jigs since I've been using this hybrid jig. It's a very good jig. Also, the other jig that I'm using is also very, very good in cover. Hooks the fish very, very well. That's the two things to me with a jig, guys, when you're deciding what jig you want to buy. Number one is how does it hook the fish? That's the most important part. You want a jig that's going to hook the fish in the top of the mouth, not one that's going to roll sideways and get them in the corners. So it's very important to find a jig that you hook most of your fish in the top of the mouth. The other thing is, does it come in and out of cover good? Of course, that's always important. So for me, sand tone, rattling jig, and the 6-inch hybrid jig are the two jigs that I'm sticking to this year. Getting to that time of year now, normally we would still be sticking with the black and blue pattern. Like that would be the deal all the way till March, mid-March or so. We've had so much more weather. These fish are so far ahead in their stage or their phase of their pre-spawn to spawn cycle that I'm already going to go ahead and start switching over to this color, which is a color that I will use a lot, normally in late March and into April and May. And I don't even know what you call this. It's kind of a bluegill color, but it's a green pumpkin with some brown and orangish tint to it, and green pumpkin trailer. And that's the color that I'll actually stick to throughout the remainder of the spring. Half ounce is your general all-around best, most versatile weight. Trailers. For the trailer on my jig, and you'll see even on this black and blue jig that I'm about to cut off, Rage Crawl trailer, right? See that Rage Crawl? So for me, on trailers, when I have water under 55 degrees, I want a flat trailer that'll kind of have a waving action, not a swimming action or kicking action. But once I get over 55 degree water temp, if I'm being 100% honest with y'all, man, Strike King Rage Crawl is just about the only trailer that I use. It has just got an awesome action to it. It gets bit. I have a ton of confidence in it, and that's the one I use. So I've got green pumpkin Rage Crawl on this jig. The one I'm about to cut off on black and blue, I had of course, the electric blue Rage Crawl on that one. All right, so that is 4. The fifth one. You guys are probably gonna laugh, but that would be a black buzzbait right there. You see that? That is a black Papa's Baits is the one that makes this one right here that I use. It's kind of got a unique arm design. You see that arm design, how it's just one arm instead of the traditional crook in the arm? That actually helps that bait be a lot more weedless and come through cover a lot better. And you can actually run this thing into the side of a stump, and usually it just bounces off and doesn't hang up. That's why I use that one. That's Papa Baits, and that's his Pro Buzz. That's my favorite buzz bait, especially for Lake Fork. That is, so black buzz bait. I know, right? It's wintertime. It's February. Nobody throws a buzz bait. I'm telling you guys, when you get the right conditions, this thing can be unbelievable how good it can be. When you've got a sunny day, even if it's not that warm outside, that back of the pocket in that real shallow water, it will warm up in that sunshine. And when it does that, those fish get so shallow you can't hardly even get your boat back to them. That black buzzbait will catch a fish in the sunshine. It'll be a bluebird sky, and we'll be out there throwing a black buzzbait in 0 foot of water in January and February, and it catches them. I'm telling you, try it out. It'll blow your mind. So, then that, again, Papa's Baits. He's a local guy. It's a small guy. A lot of you probably haven't heard of this company. Check him out. I'll have him linked below. Papa's Baits Pro Buzz. That is a great, great buzz bait. It's my favorite one. To recap, top 5 if you're going to Lake Fork this weekend. Chatterbait. White's been my color of choice lately. It's been catching my good fish. 5-inch stick bait. I like the Smash Tech Smash Stick. Weightless Texas rig on that. 6 cents Movement 80X. I'm going with the craw color. We've been catching them a lot on the shad color. I'm going to go ahead and go with the craw color, try and change it up. That bite has slowed down for me, so I'm going to go out with a different color this week, see if that helps. Plus, it's East Texas, right? So it's never the wrong time for a crawfish colored bait. So craw color, boy, I'm jumbling words tonight. I apologize for that. Fourth thing is going to be the flipping jig, half ounce. It's your best, most versatile weight, green pumpkin or black and blue. Put that rage craw on the back. And the fifth one, the secret killer. Y'all better not tell anybody about this secret. Oh, I just told everybody. Oh well, black buzz bait, Papa's Baits, Pro Buzz, that single arm buzz bait, super weedless, bumping on stumps. Black buzz bait, 3/8 ounce. If you have the sunshine in the back of the pocket is warming, that's a killer. And that's our top 5. Okay. This is East Texas Bass Story, so I got a bass story for you. This one's actually really funny. Every year, me and a group of really good friends make a trek to Toledo Bend. It is an awesome fishery. It's a ton of fun. And we go every year, and this group, it is full-on prank wars and hijinks. And I'm going to bring you guys along this year when we go, so that's coming up at the end of March. Look forward to that. You guys will see the footage right around the beginning of April. It's going to be a good time. So, prank wars abound. Last year, so the last morning, we were only fishing for half a day. I'd already caught 100,000 fish or whatever it was, so I decided I'm going to throw a big Smash Tech convict and nothing else. I'd caught a couple fish on the Rago swim bait on that trip, and that was really awesome. But I wanted to catch them on that convict because the guys on Fork were killing them on it. So I'm going along fishing all morning. I've had a couple bump it, none have taken it. A few hours into the morning, one of them just, knocks absolute slack in my line. I've got to run to the back of my boat trying to set the hook. I set the hook, the rod bows up, and as you'll see here in just a minute, right as the rod bows up, the rod straightens out. Somebody, I think it was you, Dom, somebody got my drag and backed it off. I don't know who it was, but somebody backed my drag off, and I went to set the hook on this fish, and it goes. So the fish somehow stays hooked up. I got enough in him to get a little bit of a hook in him. I'm reeling him in, reeling him in. The fish comes up about 15, 20 foot in front of the boat. You'll see the splash. Unfortunately, we kind of blocked off the view of the fish, but you can see how big the splash was a little bit. You can just see part of it. But as the fish come up and shook and jumped, she throws the bait. And the guy that was in my boat with me, Tim, my buddy, he's caught 6 fish, something like that, over 10 pounds. He's seen a lot of big fish. And after it was all over, after I said my curse words and threw my temper fit, I turned around to Tim and I said, man, I don't even want to guess, but how big do you think that was? And he says, his quote was, it was every bit of 10. It was probably my biggest fish of the year. It honestly was probably my personal best. I mean, it was a huge, huge, huge fish. So I lost it because of prank wars at Toledo Bend, and I'm not sure who did it. But all those guys better have their both eyes open in all times this year on the trip. Also, for everybody, I'm getting so much, and thank y'all, so much outreach wanting to help with my wife's situation. We are going to do a fishing tournament on June 3rd on Lake Fork. It's going to be a benefit for our family for the breast cancer situation. So, stay tuned for more details on that. We're going to make it a big deal. It's going to be a big event, and we got a lot of things to line out before we announce the event officially. For all of you that are interested in helping, if you want to just come out and hang out, you want to volunteer and help at the tournament, you want to fish it, keep it in the back of your mind. June 3rd, mark the date on your calendar. That's the date it's going to be. And as soon as we have all the details worked out, we'll announce them here. And, man, thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. This is like a whole new community for me being on this YouTube thing. And I'm really enjoying making these videos. I'm enjoying all the feedback. If you guys ever have anything that you want to know, you want to hear about, you want to see, you want to learn, whatever it is, I'm here. I am your Lake Fork guide, so let me know what I can do for you. Couple more things. To my contest winner in California, I'm sorry. I've had so much going on with the fishing and everything and with my wife. I forgot to send your package. The contest winner in California, I forgot to send your package. There's part of it right there. I promise you I'll ship it this week. I'm very sorry, sir. And look at this. I was just watching on TV in here earlier. Look who's on the TV. Oh, Jay Kendrick. A lot of y'all don't know him, but that's Jay Kendrick. He's a good friend of mine. He's also a guide on Fork. One of the most talented young fishermen we got out there. Good dude. And he filmed an episode of Honey Hole All Outdoors a while back, and it popped up on my YouTube suggested feed earlier. So see, I don't just put stuff on YouTube. I actually watch it too. So Jay is going to be on the channel soon, hopefully. So y'all be looking out for that. I guess that's all. We appreciate you watching this week's episode of East Texas Bass Stories on Your Lake Fork Guide. We're going out here in the next couple of days. Let's see, we got a filming day this week on Sunday. So again, Monday's video will be as real time as it gets. We will fish on Sunday and you will see what happens on Monday. Real time, real honest information. That's what we're bringing to you. Appreciate y'all watching as always. See you next time. Baby, come here, baby. Oh, say bye.